The man at the center of one of the most infamous serial killer cases in America has finally been sentenced. Rex Heuermann, the Long Island architect who admitted to killing 8 women over a period of nearly 2 decades, will now spend the rest of his life in prison without the possibility of parole. Inside a packed New York courtroom today, family members of his victims delivered emotional victim impact statements describing decades of pain, loss, fear, questions that can never be answered. Some told Heuermann to save himself a spot in hell. And for one of the few times since his arrest, Heuermann spoke and admitted he was responsible for the crimes.
Mr. Heuermann, is there anything you wish to say before I pronounce sentence?
Yes. There are no
Stand up.
There are no words I can say. I am responsible for what was said in this room today. The words I would say have no meaning, and I'm going to leave it there at this time.
Well, guess what? His words didn't sit too well with the judge, who blasted Heuermann, calling him a coward, saying the only thing that he appeared sorry about was getting caught.
Mr. Heuermann, as Mr. Tierney said, I know that you're sorry that you got caught. I assume that you're sorry for what you've done to your wife and children. Are you a little bit sorry for what you did to these poor innocent women? 8 women that you strangled to death, at least 8 that we know of. Are you at least a little bit sorry for that? Yes?
Yes, I am.
You know what? You've been described as a very big man, but you're a disgusting and despicable small man, if you're a man at all. And you're a coward. As a result of your plea of guilty to murder in the first degree and count 1 of indictment 73544 of 2024, it's essentially what you served the rest of your life.
Now, while the criminal case is effectively over, the investigation may not be. I say that because federal authorities are expected to continue interviewing Heuermann as part of an agreement to cooperate with the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit. That is the same type of profilers who study serial offenders to help solve future cases. Think about Mindhunter. They're hoping to learn how we managed to live a double life for so many years without being caught, how he chose the victims that you see on his screen right here. Look at how many lives he took, how his crimes may have evolved over time, whether he may still hold information that could help solve other unsolved cases. I want to bring in Scott Rouse, okay? He's one of the top behavioral analysts, body language experts. So happy to have you here. Scott, you saw him in court today. You heard what he had to say. Is there any chance from what you saw that he seemed remorseful? I don't even know if he's capable of remorse. What did you take away from it?
No, what we were seeing there is what he thinks remorse looks like. And he's acting like he thinks you think and I think he should act. So, and he says, I understand how bad things, he thinks he's saying, I understand how bad this is, so my words won't have any meaning here. But what he doesn't understand is that normal people should feel horrible about doing something like that. And his approach doesn't work because it's fake. And there are no expressions of sadness, grief, stress, anything on his face. There's nothing in there at all, not even a little bit.
And I'm not surprised by that, because when you talk to people who've interviewed serial killers, one of the things they say is, like, they ask, how come I don't feel anything? How come I don't have any feeling towards what I did? They kind of want to understand themselves. And it's frustrating for when you hear the judge or any of the people make statements, you want to inflict that pain on him, but it bounces off, right? It has nothing in it. Talk to me about how he's actually interviewed now by the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit. What are those interviews like? And I guess my first question is, how do you even know if he's telling the truth?
Well, what's going to happen is this, and these guys are great at this, and each personality type is different. This is a highly narcissistic personality type here, so they will probably, I think he won't get to watch TV, so he won't see this coming. They'll probably approach it as to where he's brilliant. You know, it's obviously brilliant. It'll probably go down something like this. There'll be somebody that comes in to talk to him. And in that first 15, 20 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes, you connect with them and you build rapport. So the person maybe that's doing the interview may be acting like they're signing something, or filling out papers, and just starting small talk with them. And as they start that small talk, they may say something like, "I can't believe somebody with an IQ as high as yours would get snagged for only 8 murders. I don't understand. I think there'd be more than that." And then you go on and you keep talking, and then you set up him thinking you think he's brilliant, because that feeds the narcissistic part of him. Now, as you go through this, you go heavy on how brilliant he is, then you pull that back. Then you go heavy on it, you pull that back, and you keep pulling it back. And he wants to show you how smart he is and that he is brilliant, that he does have a high IQ because of his ego. And what he'll do is he'll tell you things he wouldn't normally tell you. And there's not a protocol for it. You have to finesse it, but there's a way to get in there and get that extra information without going over the top. It can be done, and they'll do it.
What's the best case scenario? What's the goal? What do they learn that could help prevent anything like this in the future, aside from trying to find out if he was part of other crimes?
Yeah, he's going to do say the same things most people that are in that situation say. I'm under the impression we're dealing with a psychopath here. You can't diagnose one on a few videos, but in this situation, from all the videos I've seen and heard him talk and everything, I believe we're dealing with a psychopath. It's just my opinion. So what they'll do is to try to find out if there are more. That's the approach they'll take. They'll make him feel smart. And what you want to know is what else he's done, or was there anyone else involved? So that's what they'll be hunting for.
Any patterns, anything, and ways that he escaped, loopholes in the system, although when he committed these crimes, very different than what we're dealing with today. Technology has changed. Yeah. Scott Rouse, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.